This podcast is brought to you by the Oddities Coffee Shop and Novelty Store, located at 4182 Cordata Parkway here in Bellingham, Washington. We're serving up organic coffee from Camano Island Coffee Roasters, and we have freshly baked pastries from Avenue Bread, delicious donuts from LaFine's, and warm bagels from the Baglery. We carry toys, gifts, games, and unique items for your home, so please come on down and check us out.
Sweet.
You're listening
That's
to the
cool.
Oddities
That's a sweet
podcast.
little setup you guys have.
Yeah, and then we have some products made overseas in China that we import and sell as well.
Okay.
And then we part of the business is we buy stuff off stores that have sales or coupons or discounts.
Yeah.
And then we buy them on clearance or sale and sell them for normal retail on Amazon. So do a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
Just kind of flipping.
Yeah. The hustle.
So is Storia Cucina
Yeah.
pronunciation correct?
Yeah. Storia Cucina.
I always imagine I'm saying it right, but you never know for sure. And I don't want to be embarrassed saying it wrong the whole time.
No, it's a kitchen story. In it or like history kitchen, but we kind of the way I see it is kitchen story.
Okay.
You know, some of my cousins in Italy, they're like, no, it's Storia della Cucina. They're like, you left out the della, you know, and they're like, it doesn't make sense like that. And I'm like, no, but it's just Storia Cucina. Like we're in the U.S. It's gonna be much easier for people to understand kitchen story,
Uh-huh.
you know. So and like marketing and stuff to keep things simple,
Yeah.
you know.
Is this your first restaurant you've had?
No, my first restaurant was in San Francisco. I lived in the Bay Area for the last 10 years, and we were open up 7 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So owned and operated it. I was a co-owner, so it was me and another chef buddy that I knew from culinary school, and we collaborated and opened it together.
Oh, wow.
And we were like 25 when we first opened in San Francisco.
Uh-huh.
Definitely tough and
Tough in what way?
tough in the way when you're 25, you don't have a lot of assets or anything. Like no one wants to trust you to give you money to open a restaurant, and then just the overhead in the Bay Area and the competition is super tough.
I was gonna say, I know it's really expensive down there.
Yeah.
But you guys made it work though for 7 years.
Yeah, made it work. We were a neighborhood spot in Bernal Heights.
Yeah, restaurant business is a tough business.
Yeah.
I've been friends with people who have owned restaurants before. My dad owned a bakery for a short time, a French bakery. I worked in as a baker for 2.5 years in my early 20s.
Yep.
And all the people I know, like, I always tell people, like, restaurant business is tough. Like, I worked in a Thai restaurant as a server for 2.5 years, and I knew her on a personal level, but she would work 6 days a week, in the summer 7 days a week, in the kitchen cooking, like 16 hours a day. And, her brother owned the restaurant before her, and he'd be like, you guys make more money than we do. Like, meaning the servers, because of our tips.
Yeah.
And she told me how much money she made one year. She goes, well, that's on the books, but it's probably a little more. But it was like, it was not. And she was like, for the amount of hours she was putting in, insane. And now, I'm a business owner myself. I have a coffee shop and then this place here. And, it's, I mean, going into it, did you know restaurant owners before opening your first restaurant in San Francisco?
I had like chef mentors that had opened their own spot, and being a young chef at the time, it was always a dream to like have your own spot, and you just have that discipline from all the chefs you work for, in the past, like teaching you every little penny counts, like with food costs and pretty much just running the whole business like that. So important, like you can't waste anything, and have to be, keep an eye on labor all the time, and it's always up and down depending on, the season and each day, and like, so you have to, really be on top of that kind of stuff.
Where'd you go to culinary school at?
I went to Johnson Wales University. I went to the Miami branch.
Okay.
So, I graduated from there. Then I started working for this French chef, Christian Delouvier. After that, I worked for Michael Mina and John George, other like Michelin star chefs. And then I was kind of, I was in San Francisco and just wanted to cook food, good
Mm-hmm.
local product,
Mm-hmm.
like a little, more mellow,
Uh-huh.
not so intense.
Yeah. What's the hardest part of owning a restaurant?
The hardest part, I mean, it's a lot of different things. Sometimes I think right now, one of the hardest spots, toughest times is staffing, like finding good staff that believe in what you're doing and
Mm-hmm.
want to be there,
Yeah.
and execute the vision.
Mm-hmm.
That can be tough these days.
Yeah. Is it because of the COVID shutdown, or is it just in general? You mean just finding good people that?
Just in general,
Uh,
like this was more so in San Francisco than I've seen in Bellingham.
uh-huh.
Um, I think a lot of the reasons I want to get out of San Francisco is, no cooks or restaurant people could afford to live there,
Yeah.
where Bellingham's a bit different.
Yeah, that is interesting, huh? It's
Yeah,
all the tech people, right?
yeah. It's
Wow.
yeah, it's all the tech community, and
Uh-huh.
if you're not making, um,
Over like 100 grand, you got to make
yeah,
like insane money.
yeah, exactly.
Do you find pressure as a owner to pay them more money, like,
Well, yeah, you want to
but you
like you
can't
want to
like,
pay them like
but you
reasonable
can't.
wages,
Uh-huh.
but then it's at a certain point, it's like what makes sense like before you close the doors.
Hmm.
And you have so much overhead in the Bay Area that a couple weeks shut like with COVID. That's when I was just like, you know what, calling
Yeah.
it quits with the Bay Area. I'm moving here full time.
Yeah.
That was the overall goal. To be here, like close to family. I grew up on Lopez Island,
Hmm.
so being in Bellingham is close,
Hmm.
to home for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you grew up here, or did you in Lopez Island, but you have family in Italy still, and did you grow up there at all, or?
No, so I grew up on Lopez Island.
Uh-huh.
My Italian side of the family on my mother's
Uh-huh.
side, we have like distant cousins in
Uh-huh.
Italy, and I'll go visit them. But
Yeah.
I've never lived in Italy,
Uh-huh.
just visited. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. So the same Thai restaurant that I worked in, she used to have a Thai restaurant in Seattle
Hmm.
on Capitol Hill.
Yeah.
And this was at this point now, this is probably 17 years ago.
Okay.
And she was telling me her monthly rent there was $10,000 a month, which is insane.
Oh yeah.
Like I couldn't, I mean,
Yeah. It's
you
how do you
gotta
keep up on
be
that?
you gotta be moving food
Yeah.
like insane. That's
Yeah.
just the rent bill.
Yeah.
And people don't understand employees. When you have employees, I mean, you know this, but for everyone listening, it costs you so much more than just the hourly wage that you pay that employee to have them,
Hmm.
because there's all kinds of taxes you have to pay,
Yeah.
employer taxes and other things on top of. So even if you're paying them like 13.50 an hour, it winds up costing you more like 15 an hour or 16 an hour.
Yeah.
And then you have to pay the payroll company itself to process the payroll and do the withdrawal from your account to pay them.
Exactly.
And so there's like it costs you so much more.
And then
So
the accountant and
oh,
the
the counting,
bookkeeper and everything,
yeah,
everything's more,
everyone gets a piece.
yeah.
Everyone gets a piece. So it's so expensive. Like I know. I mean, I just paid I mean, my accountant makes thousands of dollars off of me a year, thousands and thousands. I
Yeah.
mean, I just paid him $1,000 this morning. But it's just like, but you want the books to be good, and
Yeah.
they're in there reconciling everything, and then it's just like the payroll protection thing. I got for both of my
Yeah.
businesses. I got the payroll protection money,
Hmm.
but then you have to keep track of it to report back that you used it properly, and I
Yeah.
have to pay my accountants to monitor that,
Yeah.
to fill out, do the application work, because I don't have
Yeah.
time for it, and I don't want to screw it up, and then
Yeah.
10 years from now, like, oh, you screwed up here, yeah, you owe us all
Yeah.
this interest and
Yeah.
fees now.
Exactly.
So yeah, the employer thing is interesting. It's probably been hiring people in general,
Yeah.
I think, has been pretty interesting,
Hmm.
because just trying to find people that are reliable workers is
Yeah.
tough, and then trying to also, you have to train them properly, but you don't really know how great of a worker anyone's going to be
Yeah.
until after they've already started working for you.
Yeah.
Would you agree with
Especially,
that?
yeah, like when you first open the restaurant, you've never seen them work before.
Uh-huh.
Usually when you have a, already open restaurant, you'll kind of have them do what we call it stage, where you come do a stage in the kitchen, and it's like a trial of work day, so you can see their knife skills, see how they move
Yeah.
around the kitchen, what their level is.
Mhm.
So you get like a good feeling interviewing someone, but someone
Mhm.
could be all talk, and then you're like, okay,
Yeah.
well, you know break down, this fish or something, and it's completely just hacked or something. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
So
What do you look for on resumes? I'm curious. I'm going to give my input on this.
yeah.
But when you get a resume, what are the things you look at on the resume when you decide to even call them in for an interview?
Well, one of the first things is how long have you worked at a place? You
Perfect.
know?
That was my number one thing, was it not?
Yeah.
I'll get to my speech,
Yeah.
my little spiel in a second,
Yeah.
but that's exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
And why is that? What are you looking for when you say that?
Well,
How long?
you want someone that's, dedicated and committed, not just bouncing around and like, oh yeah, I'll be here a couple months, and
Yeah.
you put in all this energy and
Hmm.
time into someone, and you want to see them thrive with
Yeah.
you, not just have to, oh, okay, a couple months and redo it
Yeah.
again.
And you figure they're probably the type of person that quickly gets dissatisfied, or they're impulsive, or
Mhm.
they're restless. So they're going to be with you for a few months. And then
Yeah.
this job's going to offer me an extra quarter an hour. And I'm
Yeah.
going to go do that one now because I can make that extra a little.
Exactly.
And you just wasted all this time, effort, and energy.
Yeah.
And all right, go on. What else?
Yeah, I mean that, and
Hmm.
then obviously, kind of what style of restaurants you've worked for me,
Hmm.
um, uh, yeah, and maybe it's not like the most like fancy high end one, but were they busy? Like
Yeah.
like sometimes it's you have that speed,
Hmm.
that sense of urgency, which is important to have.
Yeah. What would you say separates a good cook slash chef from like ones you've been with in the past that weren't that great? Is their ability in the kitchen to like alter things and create, and like what is it, do you think?
I think one of the biggest things is just like cleanliness,
Hmm.
organization, and sense of urgency.
Yeah.
Because if you kind of have those like basic set skills, then you can mold them into whatever you're trying to teach them.
Yeah.
For the position for your kitchen.
Hmm. Yeah, and I always talk about like with the hiring thing. I've talked about Olivia with it. The very first thing, because I've recently hired for baristas and her job, and
Yeah,
there's so many people looking for work right now. I get
yeah,
flooded with resumes
yeah,
on Indeed, and I always tell everyone I barely read it. My eyes immediately focus on your job history. That's the
yeah,
number one thing I look at.
yeah,
I don't even look at your name.
yeah,
I don't look at your objective, your little speech you gave at the beginning.
yeah,
I immediately because that's the first thing.
yeah.
I'm not going to spend time reading, and then I
Mhm.
get to your work history, and you have 4 or 5 jobs where you worked each one for 3 months and quit. You're
Yep.
immediately disqualified.
Oh yeah.
Like you gotta stick it out.
100%.
And if you
Yeah.
can't last that long,
Yep.
I'm like, I'm not gonna have to hire you, and then a month from now or 2 months from now, either you quit or I fire you, and then I have to go back, advertise the job, re-interview, retrain.
Yep.
Number one thing, I never call references
Yeah.
because that's just pointless. Because you're only going to put down people that are going to say a good word about you.
Yeah.
I know.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, I agree
how many
with that.
times have you had friends, people like,
Yeah.
hey, can I put you down for a reference?
Yeah.
Or like I've even done it when I would apply
Yeah.
for jobs. So like, what's the point of that? Like, I'm going to call these random people. I'm like, are they a good person? Yeah, they work good. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, it's so silly.
Yeah.
And then,
Unless like directly, like, oh, I know that chef you work for or
yeah.
something, like, okay, like
And
let
then
me
the
check that.
objective, I sometimes read them. I sometimes even after that don't. But the objective is just basically telling the other person what they want to hear to potentially hire you. Like,
Yeah.
I'm excited to try my skills in the customer service field, or da 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 da. It's like, well, of course, you know what? Of course you're gonna say that. You're trying to get the job. I always equate it. I always give the analogy to like a
Yeah.
first date, like going
Yeah.
on a date with
Yeah.
somebody. That's what an interview resume is. It's like you're just telling them everything they want to hear, and you're putting up this face that you're going to be this great person on,
Mm-hmm.
to be in a relationship with and to continue dating. And then you find out 6 months or 3 months later
Yeah.
that you just got into a disaster
Yeah.
situation. It's the same exact thing with hiring people because
We've all been there
I've have
both ways.
yeah, I have horror stories about both dating and hiring employees. And so I always think of like resumes are so outdated. They're like, I don't know when the resume format template came into be that we currently use, but I
Yeah.
feel it's like from the 50s or the 60s. Like
Yeah.
this isn't even real anymore. Like I just want to know your job history, your name, leave off the objective.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, that needs a whole revamped. But that's basically what I look for.
Yeah.
Anyways, so at your restaurant downtown, you've been there how long now?
Well, we were supposed to open up March 18th,
Uh-huh.
and then we opened up in the beginning of May for to-go food only.
Mm-hmm.
And then mid to end of June we started in-house dining
Uh-huh.
with phase 2.
God, man,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
This
it's
is bad timing for you.
oh yeah.
God, and the food is delicious, by the way. Because
Thank
you
you.
saw me down there with Chris a few weeks
Yeah.
ago. It was the first
Mm-hmm.
time eating there.
Yep.
I had actually started following you on Instagram long before I even met you or went there or knew Chris.
Yeah.
Because I was excited about your place.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I had just gone to Italy last summer with my daughter. We
Oh,
went to
awesome.
Italy, France, and Germany, and we spent time in Rome. And oh my God, the food was the best I've ever had. And
Incredible.
I mean, the pizza. I had pizza every night. I had raviolis every day. Um, I couldn't get enough of the pizza.
Yeah.
Unlike anything else here, because over here, and you can chime in on this,
Mm-hmm.
give your thoughts on this, but over there, there's like basically cheese and like salami. there's like
Yeah.
there's like two or three ingredients on the pizza,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
and maybe it's different in different parts of Italy. I was only in Rome, and
Mm-hmm.
I only went to a handful of restaurants, so maybe
Yeah.
it's just those places. So over here, it's like 1,000 different toppings. It looks like a casserole almost when you're done.
Yeah. It's too
Where you could
many.
just pile on like a salad of vegetables,
Yeah.
tons of veggies, and our sauce is a lot thicker here. It's like darker red, and like a lot of people do this. The crust is not over there. The
Yeah.
crust was very thin and light,
Yep.
and you can just like eat it and walk around. Where here, if you eat a pizza, depending on where you go, you get like this bloated, heavy feeling
Yeah.
of like you gotta pass out and you can barely move, and your stomach's just all
Yeah.
like, what did we do?
Yeah. It's just all that yeast is just
Is that
like.
what it is? What is it? What's the
Well, yeah. I
differences?
mean,
I picked your brain a little bit on this the first time I saw you,
yeah.
but
Yeah. I mean, like first of all, I guess like what you're saying about the ingredients, like all the famous pizzerias, like in Naples, Italy, just will serve two pies, like the classic marinara and the margarita, and that's it.
Yeah.
Like there's no fuss. Like you get these two, they don't even slice them. It's like they're in the wood fired oven for about a minute. They come out, they serve it to you.
oh,
You know, everyone gets their own pie. It's like you're not sharing it. It's thin crust.
that's right. And
Yeah.
another thing over there, if I remembering this correctly, where you eat it with a fork, right? Do they
Yeah.
cut?
Yeah,
that-
fork and knife, and you're just kind of like
It's not
tearing
here where they
it.
cut it and you hold it like a slice, right?
Yeah, it's different.
That's different.
Yeah.
See, that was the thing. Yeah. Did you know that, Olivia?
As a kid, I thought that I was crazy because I said French people eat pizza with a fork, and I didn't know where I got it.
Yeah,
Your past life.
I'm feeling a little bit better about that now.
yeah,
Who corrected you? Parents?
I have no clue.
Mm.
Yeah.
Wow. Maybe your past life you were over there.
Exactly.
You just had it memory trapped. Wow. Yeah. Interesting. All
yep.
right, continue.
And then the sauce, you know, they never, you know, here in the U.S., everyone's cooking their sauce, and that's why it has that dark red. In Italy, you're just, you know, you're blending the fresh, like Di Napoli, San Marzano, tomatoes, a little bit of basil, olive oil, and then you're cooking it in that hot oven, and it's cooking the sauce, you know, as the pizza
Oh,
cooks.
dude.
So it's so fresh that way.
As you're talking, I'm just getting hungry.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So how we do our pizzas is we don't use any yeast in the dough. We use a sourdough starter.
Oh, great.
I have a 1971 San Francisco sourdough
Wow,
starter
dude. That's
that I
so-
brought. So it's all like natural levain. It's kind of like the bread making style of making pizza, where we make it the day ahead of time, let it bulk ferment in the fridge overnight. Then the next day you ball up the dough.
What do you feed the starter with?
Just flour and water.
Just flour and water.
Yeah, equal parts. Yeah.
Wow. That's so awesome.
Yeah, and that's you know, you can eat our pizza and you don't
So
you don't feel
traditionally,
bloated
for
afterwards.
people who don't know, is typically here in the U.S. and I don't know every area of the world, but typically it's flour, water, salt, yeast. You make your dough, you let it rise, right?
Yep.
And then you make your pizza. You flatten it out, stick it in the oven, put your ingredients on, flatten out.
Yeah.
But you're saying with sourdough, it's natural yeast that's fermented.
So it takes
right?
a bit longer.
It takes a bit longer.
Yep.
And then, so you guys make the dough the day before that you're going to use the next day.
Yep.
And then
we use the local Karen Springs flour that's milled right in Skagit Valley. It's got like live germ in it, so when you mix that with the starter, it gets all active and bubbly and beautiful. It's like exactly what you want.
how did you choose the flour? Talk to me about the flour, because I'm not super educated on this, but like, why did you go with that flour, and what are the differences? Like, what do you know?
So many flours that you'll get these days are just so processed. There's no flavor in it, and even a lot of people are gluten free, and they're gluten free because they're react. Some people actually have celiac, for sure. But then there's some people that are just reacting to like the chemicals on the gluten.
The glucosaphase, is that what it's called? That chemical Monsanto. I got a great story to share that's going to tie perfectly into this.
Yeah.
Go ahead, continue.
So with this flour being grown, the wheat is grown in Washington and then milled right here. There's, no like chemicals or pesticides on it. It's so fresh, I think the shelf life on it is like 3 months or something, where the shelf life on a, totally processed flour would be like, a year or two. So it's a big difference that it's actually like alive, has flavor to it, good bacteria that's, your body can
Helps you digest it.
yeah, can
break it down.
digest and yeah.
I got a great story for this. So about 8 years ago, I was having some health issues back then. Longer story, not gonna get into it. But I had a food sensitivity test done.
Yeah.
Drew my blood. They took 4 vials of my blood. This is like the most advanced food sensitivity test you can get, right? It's called mediator release test. They take your blood. They introduce it to like 120 at the time. This is 8 years ago. It could be more now. Different types of food, chemicals, preservatives, and they monitor your blood's response when it gets introduced with this food. So it came back and like with a list of foods and like these foods you should never eat.
Yeah.
These foods you can sometimes eat and then kind of monitor how you feel. And these foods you can always eat. On that list, there was 5 foods I'm never supposed to eat because of my genetics. It blows me up. It just my body can't handle it.
Yeah.
My gut, cognitive, everything.
Yeah.
Corn, wheat, mango, tuna, and coconut. 5 things based on just my genetics.
Yeah.
Body didn't like it, right?
Yeah.
So I avoided wheat like the plague for like years. I'm talking like 8 years. I didn't eat wheat for years.
Yeah.
None.
Yeah.
Because I had really, really bad problems. I had ended up in the ER. I was vomiting. I had a fever. I had been seeing a stomach specialist for a year and a half, or for a month and a half. We were running all these tests because I was really bloated, stomach, digestive. Couldn't figure out anything with all I was doing. X-rays, CAT scan, all these different stomach doctor tests.
Yeah.
Got really sick for a week. He's like, you better go to the ER. They couldn't find anything wrong. I got this $500 blood test on my own that they didn't even tell me about. It came back and it said, don't eat those foods. I didn't eat those foods. Within 1 week, everything went away. I cleared up. I had huge problems with food, these certain things, right? So fast forward, we're going to Europe last year.
Yeah.
I'm like, fuck, it's my first time in Europe, dude. I gotta try pizza.
Yeah.
I gotta try croissants from France. I gotta try beer from Germany. Like, I can't go there and not have ravioli.
Yeah.
Like, this is be insane, right? Because I had gone to New York a couple years, like a year or two before this trip we did last year, and I didn't eat any bagels or pizza, and I was regretting it. I'm like, I should try the pizza there. I never had it, right? Because I heard it's good. But anyways, so I'm in Europe, and I'm like, all right, screw it. I'm just going to eat it, and I'm going to pay the consequences.
Yeah.
If it jacks me up, it jacks me up. I haven't had it in years, but I gotta do it, right? So first day, we went to France first. We're in Paris. Had croissant. No reaction. I was like, oh, that's weird. And then I started going to the bakeries there, because in Paris, on every block there's a bakery. They don't really eat breakfast there. They just get like a little coffee or juice and a pastry or whatever. So I started having like baguettes and different pastries and breads. No response. Stomach fine. I'm like, really weird. And then we went to Rome next. We're in Rome, or maybe we went to Rome last. We went to Germany, then we went to Rome, and got pizza, ravioli, nothing. Stomach didn't get bloated. Head didn't get jacked up.
Local flour.
I'm like, what is going on? This is so weird. Like, I took blood tests. I can't have this. I come back. I'm like, this is strange. I go on Amazon. I look up European flowers, or flowers from Italy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I find one. I click on the comments.
Yeah.
Every single comment, or just about every single one, was like, my girlfriend, my husband, my boyfriend, my brother, whatever, has a sensitivity to wheat. They can't eat wheat.
Yeah.
They get jacked up. We went to Europe. We ate it over there when we were there, and we were completely fine. We started baking with this flour. We have no reaction. We're totally fine.
Yeah.
And I went down this rabbit hole of what is going on? And there's a chemical Monsanto uses called, I'm going to look it up because I don't want to mispronounce it. It's like glucosaphate, glucosaphate.
Yeah, I mean they have like laws over in Europe.
I found out. I looked it up. They had made this chemical illegal in Europe.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, glucosaphate. I am saying it right.
Yeah.
It's a chemical.
They're like, we're not gonna serve our people this crap.
Yeah, so that was months. I just want to make sure I'm saying everything correctly here. Yeah, this so it's glucosamate. It's a synthetic herbicide patented in 1974 by the Monsanto company and now manufactured and sold by many companies in hundreds of products. Has been associated with cancer and other health concerns, and they've actually lost lawsuits um, where they've gotten sued um, for millions and millions of dollars for using this chemical and stuff that's caused cancer in people.
Yeah.
And I think we're pretty sure we're still using it over here. Don't quote me on that.
Yeah.
But that was one of the things people were talking about in these comments is that because of the chemicals and the herbicides, it's just jacking us up.
Yeah.
And the way we modify our wheat as well to make it like a hardy, more durable wheat so we can grow more per acre. It's so hard for our guts to digest and break down. And so we've basically created like this Frankenstein wheat that is just brutal.
Oh yeah.
And
it's so processed. It's
Yeah.
just like there's nothing left in it. Your body's trying to take any kind of nutrients out of it, and it's all just like stomped out of it.
And so here's another thing that sent off like other like light bulbs in my head. I'm like, okay, that's weird. Supposedly can't eat wheat. I'm like, well, this blood test they did, they must have used like U.S. based food products when they were testing my blood and showed I have these huge sensitivities.
Yeah.
And then I started to think, well, what if I can eat corn, but just from another country?
Yeah.
And it's so funny. This lady I was seeing for massage, I'd gone to her frequently, and we started to talk. She can't eat corn because she has a really bad thyroid or something. She's super sensitive to it. I forget what it was called. She has something. She can't eat it. She gets jacked up. She went to Mexico with her boyfriend and their family. She ate corn down there and was fine.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh shit, I'm starting to see a trend here. So I started to buy flour off of Amazon that was made in Italy. I forget I'd have to look and see what it was.
Yeah.
But I would make my own baguettes at home and my own pizza, and I wouldn't have a reaction.
Yeah.
It's huge, man.
Yeah,
and
it's
what's
big.
even crazier is like the gluten-free industry is like a multi-billion-dollar industry now with their crackers and their chips and all this stuff. And really, a lot of people probably aren't gluten sensitive.
There's
It's
definitely
just
a
the
mix.
wheat.
Yeah.
Celiac disease is a totally different thing.
Yeah.
Gluten sensitivity and celiacs are different. I don't want people to who have celiacs start eating wheat and then they die.
Yeah.
Difference. I'm just saying that's my personal experience.
Yeah.
But
I've definitely had a few people come to the restaurant. And they're like, I'm usually wheat sensitive, and I try you guys pasta and flour, and I don't break out or nothing. Like my stomach's fine.
Yeah.
Which
it's
is
also
great to
interesting about that. My early 20s. I'm 40 now. My early 20s, I started to get eczema on the back of my hand.
Yeah.
Because you don't know, eczema is just a really bad dry skin.
Yeah.
It's like bad bacteria in your skin flora. And I went to the doctor. I'm like, hey, what's up? What is this? He's like, eczema. He's like, put this cortisone cream on it a couple times a day. Should go away in 2 or 3 weeks. Okay. Did it.
Yep.
And it went away. But if I stopped using it, it kept coming back. So for 10 years, I would screw with this cream on my hands. As soon as I got that food sensitivity test back and I stopped eating those foods, it disappeared for the first time in my entire life.
Wow.
So the food in my early 20s was starting to cause a reaction on my skin. Obviously, fast forward to now, I now know it's just the food here in the U.S. that I'm consuming that's jacking my body up. The European was fine. But it's such an eye-opener. I mean, it took me 18 years to gain this knowledge.
Yeah, it takes people a long time to figure it out.
But a lot of health issues are food-related.
Yeah.
And it's not just like, oh, just eat clean this or healthy that. It's the way it's processed and manufactured,
Yep.
And you guys make your own cheese as well?
Yeah, we make our own cheese. We get the curd from Ferndale Farms. And stretch our own mozzarella for the pizza. So it's all those little steps and the ingredients that we're using. It makes a big difference.
God, man. Have you eaten at his place yet?
No, I want to.
Dude,
So
I send people your way.
Yeah.
My barista and her boyfriend, I don't know if they went, but her last day at the shop, I was like, go there, get that pizza, because they're looking for a pizza space. I texted it to them.
Business has been decent, like for opening up in the middle of a pandemic. We do a lot of to-go food. The in-house dining seats that we have available, limited but spaced out. We pack those out, for dinner time. People are coming out, and I think they feel safe in our place because we're all wearing our masks. We have our gloves on. All the tables are 6 feet apart. We have the doors open, so a nice breeze.
Yeah.
And then we have like 18-foot tall ceilings. So that, then the hood vent, circulating the air.
What's your guys' most popular dish, pizza, pasta, would you say?
It's actually right between the pappardelle bolognese
And what is that?
and the margarita pizza.
Uh,
Like those are like the two top
that's the one I
sellers.
had, that
Yeah,
margarita pizza.
yeah,
Dude.
yeah. The pappardelle is like it's a wide noodle.
Uh-huh.
We make all our pasta in house. Have a beautiful pasta extruder with different dyes on it.
Uh-huh.
That's straight from Italy. Um, so I mean, you can really crank production with one of these machines.
Do you guys serve ravioli there?
We don't unless it's on the special board. So
Uh-huh.
we'll make like, specialty pastas and just like be like, all right, we made like 10 orders on the special board, but then we have our kind of like simplified menu,
Uh-huh.
4 pastas, 4 pizzas, a little happy hour,
Mm-hmm.
some apps and stuff that we do. So the menu's
Yeah.
simple, like
It's great.
we have
Yeah.
the bar there, serve a lot of cocktails.
Okay, yeah, when I came back from Italy, I was so like suspicious of every single Italian restaurant around after that because I'm like, I don't know, what kind of ingredients are you guys using?
Oh yeah.
Some bullshit going on. Because I know over there, like I said in Rome, like I said, I didn't have a reaction.
Yeah.
And unless you're a type of person who maybe has food sensitivities, you wouldn't have been aware or even super critical of it. But
Yeah.
because knowing me, like I'm not supposed to eat it, and I did, and I was fine. I was like, what? And so when I came back here, I'm like, how many of these Italian restaurants are like? Because I've been to a lot of Italian restaurants in my day until I
Yeah.
went overseas. I never really knew what a real Italian pizza,
Yeah.
was supposed to look like or anything or taste like. And I'm thinking, are you suspect of a lot of places?
Well, yeah, it's like, you go to Italy and there's nothing being produced like mass produced.
Uh-huh.
You go to all the little regions and there's butcher shops and cheese
Mhm.
makers and someone that's, local shop making your bread. It's like, it's
Uh-huh.
all different,
Yeah.
and they're just using, from their surroundings and stuff,
Uh-huh.
So it's all small time produced. And that's, I don't know, like, much about like the slow food movement.
Mm-mm.
Started in Italy in about 1986. They're trying to open up a fast food like McDonald's or something
Uh-huh.
in a small town. And this guy, Carlo Petrini, founder of Slow Food,
Mhm.
was like, screw this. We don't want this American bullshit in our
Yeah.
country. We love the way that we do stuff, supporting the small farms. So
Uh-huh.
they started this nonprofit organization to kind of like push back against fast food companies and
Mhm.
like taking over. So now they have locations, all over the world, really,
Oh wow.
which is really incredible. And when I was in the Bay Area, he actually, he must be like in his 60s or 70s at
Mhm.
this point, and he was doing a speech, and he was telling the story about a friend of his that was a nurse that would see all these people come in, and she was like, well, I want to be a nurse to help people, but all the people that are coming in are, they have all this, it's almost too late because they've been eating all this
Mhm.
this food that's, you shouldn't be eating, all this
Yeah.
processed food.
Yeah.
And she's like, I need to go, like, teach the chefs how to, feed them
Mhm.
the right product, and keep them from going to
Mhm.
the hospital.
Yeah.
You know?
One of the things I love about the dining experience overseas too is like when you go to these restaurants in Rome,
Yeah.
the portion sizes too are really small,
Yeah.
and then you get like this like glass of wine or something, right, to go with it. It's almost
Yeah.
like the pairing of the
Yeah.
alcohol
And you
with
take your time. You're not like
I
rushing. Like
know.
you're enjoying it.
And I love the outdoor vibe of Europe. Just everything's kind of outdoor seating.
Hmm.
It's just so I fell in love with it.
Yeah.
I've traveled to other places. I've been to like Hong Kong and Thailand, and coming back from Europe was the first time I ever felt like homesick.
Yeah.
Like before in the past when I've taken trips to Hawaii or wherever I've gone, after 2 weeks, I'm like, I like being home.
Yeah.
I like my routine.
Yeah.
I'm just that guy.
Yeah.
I have great times on my trips,
Hmm.
but I long for home.
Yeah.
I want to be my cats, my house, and I want to be back to work doing my thing.
Yeah.
And then I came back from Europe. I was homesick. I
Hmm.
actually wanted to go back. I didn't want to be here.
Yeah.
I had such a great time, and I just
Yeah.
loved the outdoor vibe of everything being out and late. It's like later
And
dining.
you want to like bring that back, you like try it first, like, yeah, we're gonna do this, and then you get back into your old routine.
Yeah, you
It's like
can't.
hard.
It's weird because I remember being like in Paris, for example, it was like 10:30 on a Wednesday.
Yeah.
Like everywhere in
Yeah.
the eateries. There was one time we took like a dinner cruise down the river there in Paris, and miles and miles and miles of just people on blankets with like wine and food and cheese. And the drinking age there was 18. So you didn't have to be like 21 or nothing. No one got ID'd anyway. I took my daughter; she was 18 at the time. Didn't get ID'd a single time.
Yeah.
Like no one's like hard up over there. Like, are you 21? Are you 21? Let me see. Let me see.
Yeah.
Like we even like working as a server. We'd have to be like so like we'd have to take classes on how to read an ID to see if it's counterfeit. Because if it's not, if it's counterfeit, it's your fault as the server, and you get
Yeah.
fined $500. And like
Oh, yeah.
it's like they put the fear of God in you about like
Yeah.
underage drinking over there. But it's just like I know, and like you said, you come back here, and I was trying to explain to people. I'm like, yeah, it's just a different vibe. People are like late night dining and drinking, and it just feels very community fun.
Sundays, no one's working.
Yeah.
You know, they're like family day or just enjoying life. You
Uh-huh.
know, it's like a little bit.
Yeah.
And after they're like done with work, like 5 or something, they're not like still checking their emails or like still kind of like hustling. They're
Yeah.
like, no, like we're done. Like we're enjoying ourselves.
Yeah.
Know?
Yeah. It's a very laid back, chilled thing, and
Yeah.
I was like, oh. Normally, what we do is we take a trip once a year where we go to a new place. My daughter and I.
Okay.
So we're supposed to go to Japan in July this year. Obviously, we're not going.
Yeah.
And I was supposed to go to China on a business trip. But
Yeah.
like once a year, we pick out a new spot to go. So this last spot was, and I was even saying, I was like, God, after Japan, we should take a trip back to Italy
Yeah.
and just spend some time there. And yeah, it's really, it feels very like kind of, it's not as, it's very just cold and distant feeling here. Where I was over there, everything's like late night and kind of community.
Mhm.
Like I really miss that so much. I fantasize about just going back and just being there, you know?
Yeah, it's like you want to go somewhere new, but then you're just like kind of keep getting drawn
Oh.
back, you know.
I love it, man. How often do you go back there?
I try to go like every couple of years, and
Do you
just
speak Italian at all? A little bit?
I'll speak like little phrases and
Uh-huh.
stuff, and when you go back there, then it kind of starts to come back to you a little
Uh-huh.
more, you know, because you're
Uh-huh.
like forced into it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would like to learn,
Mhm.
like, you know,
I-
fluent would be
I
awesome.
love the Italians, how they speak too, because you see it in movies
Yeah.
and TV shows being imitated, and you're
Yeah.
like, they don't really talk about like that. That's probably like just some sort of like, well, not racist, but ethnic. I don't know. It's like they're like, over exaggerating, but no, that's kind of
Yeah.
how they talk. Where they, I'm not even gonna try to like pretend to do it, but you know what I'm talking about, right? The Italian accents and like
Oh yeah.
Inglorious Bastards or something, like like trying to imitate how they talk. I'm like, yeah, I loved it over there.
Yeah.
So, what are the hours of your restaurant right now?
So right now we're open from 12 to 9 Wednesday through Sunday, all day. You know, closed Monday, Tuesday.
Yeah.
We do happy hour, like a daily happy hour, 3 to 6. Some fun stuff on there. The tigelle sandwich. These are like little street sandwiches from like Modena, Bologna area, where it's basically like it's almost like a little biscuit kind of, and you put like, you know, tomato, mozzarella, basil, a little pesto modenese, which is like it's basically lard and herbs and kind of all buzzed up. You can do ones with like salami,
Oh,
like
that
little
sounds so
different
good.
versions.
Making
You
me
know,
so hungry.
yeah,
Your food, the pizza really is amazing. It's the only thing I've had there, and I'm super. We started off, and I'm probably not gonna. We were gonna do this thing where once a week I do a pizza review,
yeah,
and then for the first month, and then once a week we're gonna do like a hamburger review or sandwich review.
yeah.
I kind of bailed on the idea because as a business owner, if I'm putting this content out on Instagram, if I review someone's business and they don't like my review, they could just go and slam my place online or like give me really bad
Oh
review.
yeah,
So I stopped, but yours was the second place that we had hit. I'm not even gonna
Yeah.
name the first place. We had already shot him, edited him. Chris did that shooting
oh
and editing.
really?
Olivia was there
Oh,
for the
yeah.
first one, but I gave your place a 10. I gave your pizza a 10 out of 10
Wow.
because it was this,
Okay.
and I would have
Thank you.
never done it just because I know her or I didn't even know
Yeah.
you at the time.
Yeah.
But it was amazing. I'm telling you guys.
I remember seeing
gotta
you
go.
after you ate it, and you were just like, I don't know, you
you
were
nailed
amped.
it. You nailed it because I was looking for something that reminded me
Yeah.
of like the pizza from Rome.
Yeah, you were excited
place
about
had
it.
and you don't have to name names. And if you don't know, you don't know. But what were there other pizza places you've eaten at that you feel had really authentic, or other Italian restaurants? Like, I'm just curious. Like, what percentage of Italian restaurants would you say are truly authentic, or or feel like it's like the real deal? You don't
Well,
have to name
yeah.
any names or anything. Just in general, most are good.
Yeah.
Most, what do you think?
I guess it kind of depends on where you're at, but yeah, you kind of have to source it. Like, I think it can be like around like 50-50,
Yeah.
you know? for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah,
You know?
because even like working in a Thai restaurant, she kind of cute. We went to Thailand. We had food there.
Yeah.
Here's the thing too that a lot of people don't think about. Like, if you want authentic Mexican, Chinese, Thai, Italian, working in a Thai restaurant when I was there, and I was friends with the owner, so I knew her. She'd tell me like there are some ingredients we use in Thailand that you just literally can't get here in the U.S.
Yeah.
So you have to get something that's as close to it in terms of like the spices and the seasonings that they use in like the pad Thai and the curry and whatnot.
Yeah.
And she's
Yeah,
like,
it's hard to find
you
the
can't get it
markets.
here, so
Yeah.
you get as close as you can.
Yeah.
Also, she was telling me there's ingredients they use here in the pad Thai which we don't even use in Thailand,
Yeah.
which I imagine is the same
It's
with
like way
every
too
ethnic
sweet,
dish.
you know?
Yeah, like here, like on the pizzas, for example, we pile all kinds of bullshit on it.
Yeah.
But Thai, I think it was like carrots. Like they don't use carrots in pad Thai overseas, and one of them was like bell pepper. I forget which one. There's a couple
Yeah.
ingredients we add here that we don't, and she goes, "That's how you know it's like a cheap Thai place."
Yeah.
And like little things like that. And I have friends over in China where I'm like, I want to try authentic Chinese food, and they're sending me things. I'm like, that looks nothing like Chinese food here,
Yeah.
and it's like that with every like type of food. But what made you settle on Bellingham as a place to open up the restaurant? Like, how'd you end up up here from San Francisco?
Well, growing up on Lopez, you would go to Bellingham. It's, if you're not going to Seattle, it's kind of like the bigger town, I guess,
Yeah.
from Camano Island. And I just started, I was like, I want to get back to my roots, want to get back to the Pacific Northwest. Lopez is too small, and I want to open a restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
And I just started falling more in love with Bellingham. Just the location, the right amount of people. You have the water, you have the mountains, you have the lakes, and it's all so accessible. Like none of them are more than 30 minutes away,
Yeah.
which it's unbelievable,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just like seeing the sunsets and going to the lake and stuff. I'm like, this is freaking beautiful. What took me so long to move back?
Are you a big outdoors guy?
I like being outdoors. Yeah.
You're from Lopez Island.
Yeah.
Olivia,
Yes.
Alone season 6. There was a guy from Lopez Island on there, right? Can you-
Almost positive.
I'm 100%
Callie.
positive.
Well,
you know who I'm talking about?
There's a girl.
No, it was a guy.
Oh, there's a guy.
Yeah, from Lopez Island.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Well, there was
look it
also
up. Look it up. Season 6, Lopez Island. Find the guy, Olivia. I want to make sure I'm not screwing this up.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Well, I think there was a guy, from.
and it says Lopez Island.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was him. He was.
See, I don't really know him.
Uh-huh.
Maybe I've met him. I'm not sure, but I do know Callie North. I think maybe she was on like a season before or season after. She's from Lopez, and she
What's
was
her
on
name?
there. Callie North.
So I've only seen season. She's on season 3, Callie.
Okay.
I've seen season 6.
Yeah.
Last night I started watching season 1,
Yeah.
3 episodes deep.
Yeah.
But the Lopez Island thing.
Oh, yeah.
But you know that girl, huh?
Oh yeah,
In
she's
season 3?
awesome. Yeah.
Dang. Don't tell me how she did, but I'm gonna remember that. I can't wait
Yeah.
to see it.
Yeah.
That'd be so cool to have one.
Well,
of these.
we have, being from Lopez, you have the Lopez community that's like your extended family, you
Uh-huh.
know. So when I was in the Bay Area, a lot of Lopez people would come down to the Bay Area and eat at my restaurant there. Like when they're passing through, it was like on their list, like we got to go here,
Uh-huh.
And so a lot of people have been like, when are you gonna come back? When are you gonna come back and do something this way? And finally, I'm just ready to be back here,
Yeah.
close to family, overhead is less,
Mhm.
like,
What are some experiences like opening up this restaurant? It's your second time.
Yeah.
What would you do differently, or what was different this time around compared to the first? So you obviously
Oh,
probably learned a lot the first time.
yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, when I was first opening the restaurant in San Francisco, I was so young, and I learned like San Francisco like molded me and got me ready
Yeah.
like for everything I'm doing with Storia Cucina, and I was like, you know what, Bellingham's gonna be a lot easier, less overhead, and then I was like, boom, the pandemic.
Mm.
But I feel like the fact that I was able to keep a restaurant and operate it for 7 years in SF, almost like prepared me for the pandemic to happen.
Oh, really? Yeah. Just because you knew like different moves you could make to
Yeah,
survive.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Like, okay, it's gonna be tough, but we can figure it out, and
Mhm.
we can, maneuver things. And when we first opened up, instead of having a whole team, it was me and 2 other people,
Mm.
and that was it, doing the to-go program for
Yeah.
a month or whatever.
Mhm.
getting back there, washing dishes, whatever needed to be
Yeah.
done, like making it happen. And then once phase 2 hit, it's like, okay, now we can afford to like hire some more people and,
Yeah.
you
So
know,
maybe kind of worked out in a better way, maybe would you say, or it led you kind of, you really probably honed in your your
yeah, I
delivery
get to
skills and
get to dial it
yeah.
in, you know. And then
Yeah.
I have Arlen, he's from Lopez, he's a chef de cuisine.
Uh-huh.
And then I have Matthew, who he's from New Orleans and he's a beverage director. So those
Is that the
guys
guy
are,
I met? I think I met him.
I
No,
think,
I met who's the guy I met at the bar that one day?
uh,
Taller guy. I think he had a beard.
yeah, that was Matthew. He
Yeah.
does all the beverage program.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, he's, really dialed in all the cocktails and stuff.
Hmm.
And, um, Arlen's in the kitchen every day making the pizza dough
Wow,
and
sounds like you got a good crew.
sourcing the ingredients and stuff.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Yeah, we definitely have a good crew. Then we have
Yeah.
some cooks and servers and bartenders. Like
And
we've built a strong team within this pandemic.
how did you guys get the name out about your restaurant too? I don't remember. I wish I could remember how I saw you. I saw you first on Instagram.
Yeah.
I started following you. This is before you opened.
Mm-hmm.
Where you weren't you posting on Instagram before
Yeah.
you opened?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's how I found you. And I don't
Yeah.
even remember how you popped
Mm-hmm.
up on my feed. I sometimes will go to the explore feature and just look at Bellingham or Wacom hashtags.
Yeah. Yeah. Always
And
like hashtagging
yeah,
that to
and I
get the
saw your
word out.
restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
I was so pumped that an Italian restaurant was getting ready to open up here.
Yeah.
And that's when I started following you. And then just sheer luck of small town. Chris had done some work for us, and I found her, and
Yeah.
we were doing the pizza. And she's like, "You got to go here."
Yeah.
She's telling me you got to go here.
She's
I'm like,
amazing. Like the photos and little
Uh-huh.
videos that she's done for us are incredible.
good,
And
yeah.
that kind of stuff with social media is so important these days.
Yeah. So you just, in terms of advertising, you just started posting on IG. Were you doing any other
Mm-hmm.
advertising anywhere else, or is that basically?
Pretty much Instagram and Facebook. And then once we opened, then we started Google and
Mm,
Yelp and stuff
getting
like that.
everything
Yeah.
search engine
Yeah.
optimization. Let me ask you this: how old are you?
33.
So, this time around, I've talked about this a little bit before in the
Mm-hmm.
past. Like, I first started off selling. I first started off this whole thing, the business that I'm in, going around to garage sales and thrift stores. I took $300. I was broke out of college. I got my bachelor's degree in psychology up at Western.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't want to go to grad school. This was during the 08, 09 recession where it's really hard to find work. Things were kind of bad. I was up here after school, worked at the food co-op for a short time, moved back to Port Angeles. Was living at my parents' house at like 32 or 33. That's when I started waiting tables at my friend's restaurant. I started going around to garage sales and thrift stores with this $300, buying stuff and flipping it on eBay and Amazon. I'd watch YouTube videos of what
Yeah.
to look for, and I got into online selling.
Yeah.
And then I built up this business. After 2.5 years of grinding it out, living in my parents' house, to about the age of 35, finally had enough money to move. Came here, continued to work out in my garage in my house for another year. Outgrew that. Got this warehouse.
Mm-hmm.
Continued to grind. Used the money to open up the coffee shop and the retail store. And now it's this whole thing. But now at this point of the game, and a question is coming from this story. Opening up the coffee shop was a new business venture because I had already kind of established myself selling
Yeah.
online. I know we do wholesale now. We do all these different things to get inventory.
Yeah.
And this time around with the store, I'm enjoying the journey of making the store profitable. Because I essentially have two companies. This company is Cascade Sales Group,
Mm-hmm.
and then Oddities, which is the name of the coffee shop and retail store.
Okay.
I sell on Amazon with both accounts. And so both of the accounts are doing well selling online, but I want to now increase the sales of the store because the store, we don't have a lot of organic traffic where we are. We're by the Department of Licensing. And so we get all our traffic from the Department of Licensing and the college. And now this time around, I'm enjoying the process of building something up to
Mm-hmm.
being success. Not that I didn't enjoy starting with $300 and having no loans or credit cards because my credit was terrible and no one would
Yeah.
give me any money. And I had to grind it from that up to what it is now. But now that this is established, this new business venture I'm in, I'm enjoying the process Olivia and I are going through, and we're going to continue to go through, of trying to build something into a success through promos and Instagrams and giveaways and just
Mm-hmm.
enjoying it. Because my first company that I built before I opened the store, I was like, oh, in the beginning it's exciting. It's like, oh, I got $300. Does this work? Can I do this? And then you buy something and you manage to sell it, and like, oh my God, it's exciting. I bought it for this and sold it for that. Oh my
Yeah.
God, I made some money.
Yeah.
Well, let's keep going. Let's flip it. And then you roll that $300. Like the first 9 months, I took $300 and I made like $9,000 just buying
Yeah.
and flipping. I'm like, oh my God. And you get excited and
Yeah.
your business starts to build and you start to get busier and you're working more hours and then you hire your first employee and you don't know
Yeah.
anything about how to hire an employee and you have to fill out what paperwork, what do I do? And I need a payroll company. Like,
Yeah.
and then you're learning and oh my God, I got to get a warehouse.
Yeah.
And so it's like this excitement.
Yep.
But then you get to a point where the machine has been built and established and now you just kind of manage the machine.
Mm-hmm.
You succeeded.
Mm-hmm.
You built, you made it to a point where it's financially making money
Yep.
and you hire people. Now you're managing schedules and shipments and the bookkeeping, and you're no longer in the trenches doing the grind, and
Yeah.
it's no longer as exciting.
Yeah.
This new store, I'm enjoying the excitement of like, yeah, let's see if we can do it. Do you experience
Yeah.
that with your second restaurant where you're like,
Yeah.
let's enjoy this?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And I think just it's exciting to know at this point like what works and what doesn't.
Uh-huh.
Like I've already experimented and played around like okay, did this, that was a bad decision, not gonna do that again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you learn all that stuff, and then now you get this opportunity to start fresh from scratch, you know, and from design point to the menu to everything, you know, comes into
Yeah.
play. And it's exciting to know at this point, like feel more confident, and be like, yeah, I know this is gonna work, and I'm not even gonna try to do all this other stuff that I've already tried and wasted money on or whatever. Like that's not ideal.
Yeah.
You know? And then like you build connections too over time, you know. I started doing ceramics in San Francisco a couple years ago, and I built stuff for my restaurant there. Then I started building stuff for here, like all the little espresso cups and stuff like that, and
dang.
little bowls and plates and candle holders and stuff for the restaurant. And my teacher there had she's an amazing artist and owned the studio, and I'm making this stuff. She's like, you're making like 1,000 espresso cups. Like, what are you doing with all these? And I like told her about the restaurant project in Washington and about the space, beautiful tall ceilings, and I want to do this mural. And she's like, who's gonna do it? And then she ended up doing it. So stuff like that, just like slowly building up people to help you out and the right network and stuff.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. I mean, you've been a business owner from a very young age, huh? 25, 33.
Yeah.
Man, what jobs did you do before that? Or was it culinary school?
Well, yeah, it was culinary school, but then I was working just for these like Michelin star restaurants. Like I was really like fascinated about that and working for the chefs, and I basically had like 2 suitcases, 2 bags, and I just went wherever the chefs were, and I was staging and had my knife roll and aprons and stuff, and that's it. I was just learning, that was the most important. Like you get paid minimum wage, and
that's the thing too. Like I was kind of trying to the point I was trying to make with that story I told is like that point in your life.
Yeah.
When you look back on it, it seems like an exciting
Yeah.
after the fact. I
No,
mean, you
for
can still
sure.
be in the and be stressed or worried or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, but like when you look back, a lot of people I think you fantasize about their past.
Yeah.
I think, oh man, things were so much more alive when
Yeah.
I had less and the struggle was real and I had an apartment where I could only afford top ramen and like I couldn't buy anything.
Exactly. And you're
Like-
just learning. Like for me, it was just about like learning, like it was never about the money. It was like, what chef do I want to work for next? And what can I learn from there? And what kind of ingredients do we get to work with? And,
Yeah.
and gain that experience, and you're getting paid for it, where you go to school and you got to, come out with a loan you got to pay off.
A huge loan.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. So at this point, like, what do you enjoy the most? I guess I wanted to ask about like just cooking in general and being a business owner. Do you love the business owner aspect more or like cooking more? Like, what are you being a chef?
I mean, I love it when I have everything done and all the business side is taken care of, and I can hop in the kitchen and be creative. Like it feels so good, but that's not always the case. There's so many things to tackle and make sure it's all done. And it's, nice to have a strong team that can help execute the vision. But I mean, I love getting in the kitchen and, being creative, the creative side when I can. It's just not as often as I would like to.
Yeah. And that's another thing I was trying to get at. Like before when it was just me, it's a little bit different than the restaurant because you got to hire workers, but like when it was just me on my own with my little 300
Yeah.
bucks. I'm just in my car hitting up garage sales on the weekends because
Yeah.
I was still working a job to pay my bills, and then
Yeah.
just grinding it out. And
Yeah.
then like it's such a rush when you go to a garage sale or anywhere you find any product that you can then buy and resell. You get a little bump. It's exciting. It's almost like an adult treasure hunt. Like you're looking for something. The most exciting part of this business for me is to find new products to buy or new accounts that we set up that are profitable, or when we find we have a new product made overseas that we then sell. I don't
Mhm.
do much of that though at all because
Yeah.
I'm busy like running the machine the whole time.
Yeah.
Olivia's helping. She doesn't actually do the searching. She kind of other people do the searching, and then she kind of analyzes the catalogs.
Mhm.
But yeah, once you, I guess, become successful or you build up your business to the point where you want it to be, you then don't get to do the stuff, the fun stuff that was your passion that led you to build it.
Yeah.
Because now I have to like, oh, I gotta do taxes today, or I gotta go figure out the shipment, or I gotta run to Costco and buy this, or we gotta go do this. Like
Yeah.
it's
It's
not.
always
It's
something.
more managerial
Yeah.
shit.
Catch up on these emails.
I gotta
da,
find
da,
someone
da.
to clean the windows. I need a window cleaner.
Yeah.
Like it's like just like random stuff like that. Cool, man. Well, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Yeah.
Really appreciate it. I love your restaurant.
Thank you.
Shout out to Instagram. What's the IG handle so people can check it out?
At Storia Cucina.
Okay, and we're gonna post that up on the video. And it's located. The address is
109 Grand Avenue, downtown Bellingham.
nice, and we'll put those pictures up there as well. People come and check you out. I'm telling you, man, the best pizza in Bellingham. Love it. So great.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Pleasure to meet you.